Okay, next thing is the digital transformation panel, and we have Roman Pixel up. He is from HiQ. I'm trying to hold this mic correct. And he's a jack of all trades, been involved in startups, also business development and mobile strategies.
Service development in mobile.
Service development. So, welcome, Ron.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
And a great thanks to Adobe for hosting this event. It's really cool to be here and see how we can get new tools to drive this digital transformation. I would like to present the panel for this morning. Please come on stage. We have a total compound digital experience in digital transformation of about 100 years with this panel. So give them a round of applause. First out, I would like to present Jessica, who is the content strategy and partnership manager at Viaplay, which will have a screen dump on.
Oh yeah!
Yeah.
Great.
If you're not aware of this service, it's one of the greatest content platforms that we have in video. Then Expressen, or Travronden from this week, right?
Yeah.
Joakim.
Yeah, correctly. So I'm transporting to another business in order to transform it to be more of a digital player than today.
But you've been driving the digital transformation the last 15 years at Bonnier.
Yeah,
right?
I've been at Expressen for 15 years
Yeah.
and working with mostly with sports and development. So I have some experience in transformation from a printed edition to becoming an online competitor.
Third out is Arla Köket.
That's me.
David.
Yes.
Really, really interesting. A player that is taken marketing to actual service development, right?
Yeah, I would say that that we are very much into content and very much into pull when it comes to marketing. We are main content pillar that is really around recipes and food inspiration, and that's what creates the pull into our channel. And we're thinking of what Tony said. Actually, we were thinking about closing down our app a couple of years ago when we introduced a new responsive website. We decided to not do so. I'm quite happy for that today. So we learned something.
This is a really cool case because it's like hjärtat av det svenska folkhemmet in a way. Really old organization with a really old story within publishing content also. That's gone digital.
We were in the VAP business too.
Yeah. Cool. Next out, I don't have screenshots for everyone, but we have Andreas, the CEO of Abbey Priest, which is representing the agencies and the media agencies and the PR business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very nice picture.
Yeah.
Oh, there I am, looking like a terrorist. Yeah.
Yes. Have you seen yourself?
No, I haven't. No, sorry, it looks great. I have a really huge ear on one side.
Last but not least, we have Sven, right?
That's right. Great to be here.
Yeah, and you also have a new title. You've been the present yourself. Your title is Google.
Yeah, I was at Google for 7 years in Sweden, heading up sales. I was with Ericsson with a great title of VP Digital Development for a short while, and now met EQT, driving digital transformation under the title Head of Marketing Technology.
And EQT is kind of interesting today when it comes to digital services and raising multi-billion funds for new services.
Yeah, there's a rumor that's happening. Yeah, can't confirm.
Yeah. I hope it's official. If not, you know where you heard it first. All right, let's get on with the questions. And of course, you're welcome to spam and block that hashtag we have, Adobe Digital Experience Briefing, because I will make a choice of a few questions at the end of the panel. So if you like to grill them, please go ahead and post your 140 characters, and I will bring them in to the debate. All right. First one goes up to Jessica. Can you tell something about the challenges designing the workflow in a company or in a concern with so many brands? Isn't that a challenge?
Well, I work with the content, so we buy a lot of studio deals from the major studios and film and series. And you can say that we try to market and place that content on different platforms. So we have our advertisement-funded platforms, such as Play. We have Viaplay, which is a subscription-based platform. And we also have the old ones, the linear TV channels, and TV3 to Viasat. And that, of course, is a challenge, of course, to monetize off the same product in different types of stores, so to say. But it also enables us, of course, to work with the new digital platforms in a new way, and really with content discovery as being one of the tools that we will listen to the consumers and work very closely to them.
And that's kind of unique also for your challenge, that you're actually selling content, right? So you're not just dealing with the challenge of inbound marketing or creating content in that way, but it's also about content in the actual proposition.
Yeah, I think we all define content discovery in different ways, and for us, content really is the bread and butter, and it's been for almost 28 years now. So it is our main task to sell the content as it is. And we do that through the content brands, of course, in all the productions that we do, but also through working with other types of distribution models, not only within our own services, but working with partners and working with other sort of a multi-distribution platform strategy. And we just launched our bigger partnership with Spotify, where we actually lend out content to them in order for our consumers to experience the content where we know they are most of the times. We don't expect them to go into our platforms every day unless there's a big Champions League event, or if there's Olympics, or we have the Paradise Hotel final, then we know we have the huge inflows of customers to our service. But we also want to know where they are, and we know where they are daily. And that's why we work with partners also in that sense, to make them discover the content, to drive the traffic into our sites, into our apps, and different platforms.
Cool.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's not a secret that you bought a lot of good content. I have Viaplay. And you bought Series A, and you bought the Spanish First League.
Yeah.
It was really great, and then everybody was waiting for, okay, what's going to happen? Will they raise the prices?
And we did.
And you doubled your prices.
It became a little bit too expensive.
But I think it's interesting, because, I mean, first you have everybody, I mean, at least I understand that if you buy content, someone has to pay for it. Yeah. So I'm still a client. But how did people react to that?
I would say, as we counted on, of course, you hear a lot of negative, comments to that. But in general, I think it's up to us also to communicate the price that you pay, and also all the good offering that we do, that you get from it. So it's also been pushing us to deliver more clear value proposition to our customers, such as all the other content that we have, all the features such as offline mode, for example, and all the other ones. And it's been as expected, but also we see that our customers are they're expecting more from the service, and they're more knowledgeable now. As newspapers usually compare different services, so do our customers do themselves now. Okay. So it makes us to be on our toes and really deliver a great experience.
I won't ask you about churns, because you won't tell me anyway, or dropouts. But I think it's a really good example, because everybody talking about content is free of charge. I mean, it's free. You can have a lot of content, and in your case, it's not free. And I think you handle it very well. I mean, there were not a protest storm, but there were some negative feedback. You handle it, and then it blown away. I mean, I think I used to talk about that, because content can have a price tag on it, and it seems that people still are using Viaplay.
They do, and they also tend to experience more than just sports. Before we had one sports customer who only went in there for the big leagues, but now we see that our sports customers also watch a lot of kids content, and they watch a lot of own-produced shows and a lot of the studio material as well. So we see that they're more of they go in and they find a whole service for their usage.
Good, thanks.
David, do you have any comments on this editorial flow from your perspective at Arla Köket, and how you've driven this transformation? Because you started out with print materials in the shops, actually, and then you became one of the most downloaded apps on Swedish mobiles.
Yes.
How do you comment this?
Well,
Content
difference
side.
from Viaplay might be that we give away our content, and as you say, back in the day, it actually started many years ago. We produced these nice little brochures that we put out in the food stores for you to cook food and get ideas, be inspired to cook food, and of course with some dairy product content in it. And what's happened is it's quite easy. We have just transformed that to digital channels. It's in the end it's the same service to help people to be inspired and find out what they will eat for dinner every day. So what?
But you're not charging. You're actually not charging
No.
for it, but you're sure as hell bringing value to the client, right? To the customer, to the recipient of your message.
Yes.
So have you had like a service development perspective on what you're doing, and how did you bring in UX thinking into the core of your flow? Or
Yeah,
the core of your service development?
I think the service idea was there from the beginning. Actually, in the print age, and we took that into digital channels. And what we've done lately is to actually move in the team that managed the content production. We move them into the digital team now. When it's there we have the huge reach. We still do some print material, but I mean, so I think the service design was there really in the beginning. We've just transformed it into digital.
So someone who really has a unique insight in the world of creating editorial products is Joakim. Can you tell some? Well, I think it was your last week just before in February, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but you've been with the Expressen for
I've been
over
there for
15 years now.
Almost 15 years.
Yeah.
Yes. So I've been there from the printed edition time, where we sort of did print only, and digital was something that the cat dragged in, and it sat behind a wall, and you shouldn't talk to them because they sort of disrupts our businesses and they kill our businesses, etc. So we've gone through from being in sort of internal war until becoming, I should say, digital only company in about 6 to 8 years. It's been a great challenge. It's been tough, but we decided to do this journey like 2008. And we've been on it for like 8 years, and nowadays we're quite a success.
That's the days of Minitel, basically.
Yeah, you can say that, and it's
Pre-iPhone.
Yeah, you can say that. We began early. We were unfortunately a bit late on mobile due to some I don't want to recall that, but due to some bad decisions. But otherwise, we've been into digital for quite some time, and we've been focusing real hard lately on digital, and now we are sort of a digital-only business, actually. The printed edition is actually made by more or less automation, and the digital company or digital part of the company is ruling everything.
This is kind of an interesting layout, actually, of the panel. Can you see here is one person who charges for the content, one who doesn't, one who plays with them all. Then we have a guy who actually relies on the advertising aspect of things.
Yeah, we are
giving away content but monetizing on that. And then we have Sven, who's actually seen the industry from Google's perspective. Can you say something about this transformation journey that many companies are on, and how you started the first campaigns back also about the same time, 2008, when you discovered that most companies don't even have a website that is adapted for mobile. And I think it was Sergey Brin who coined the expression mobile first, right?
It was actually Eric Smith who did at the time. Yeah. So yeah, Google saw this coming. One of the things with these Silicon Valley guys is that they can see the future. Most traditional companies can't, which I find is very interesting. And what do I mean by that? Well, most of us think in a linear way. If you're from a traditional company, you typically look at a trend. Oh, it's 2 in 2008. It's 4 in 2010. Surely it must be 6 in 2012. And that's the sort of additive. And you might increase a little bit, but it's very linear. Whereas these guys, they can see very early on that, no, this is an exponential trend. The smartphone will change everything. There's momentum in this curve, and we will move exponentially. It can move exponentially down as well. I'm betting the guys over at the Nero are looking at curves, and they're thinking, well, we should, we have this curve going down linearly. We have another curve that will go up linearly, and we'll meet, and we'll be okay. That never happens. It's typically crash, boom, Kodak, Nokia, that sort of thing, Blockbuster. They didn't know what hit them, whereas somebody else took the other route. So yeah, I have seen that, and Google came out of it very much. I think still valued the highest valued company ever, or they toppled Apple at least. They're currently the highest valued company. So they're clearly doing something right also in this age of mobile. But that's because, as did Facebook, by the way, I think even more profoundly navigated out of a desktop-only environment. They betted so hard on the mobile future that it was 2010 they acquired Instagram, $1 billion at the time, and WhatsApp. It was seen as a crazy move, and I think all of us can agree that was a brilliant move back then. And you have to have a very different mentality. What I took with me from Tony's presentation was that org chart. I've been in that org chart too, not at Google, but at another company, more traditional company, and it's very difficult to drive change in that environment when you're one of, you consider yourself one of the few people that see where this is going and where the curves are really taking you.
Can I jump into that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because one important thing when business is like this is that it's important to look at yourself from the outside. A couple of things that we actually did at Expressen which made us successful is that we disrupted ourselves. So we had a huge photo department. We won a lot of prizes. We one of the best in the country. What we did we do that? So we closed it down. So why? We built a TV department instead with a lot of co-workers and a new kind of thinking into the company. And nowadays it's sort of becoming a great success. We did the same with journalism. So we do this news stuff. We do breaking news. We are quite good at that actually. And a lot of people read us when it comes to breaking news. But when it comes to social news, what can we do there? So we sort of broke ourselves down and told ourselves that, okay, we're good at breaking news, but we need to be where the users are and where are they daily, sort of. They are consuming in a social context. So we need to do that. So we created a brand because we thought that Expressen might be hard. Youth can't spell Express. How do you sort of spell Expressen? It's like X. It's like, oh shit, I don't know. So we did a new brand called Omtalat, and this was a great success for us. We've sort of gone from a few users to becoming to have like 2.5 million unique users a week, and that drove our curve from Expressen, since we put it under Expressen. It drove our mobile curve from being like 1 million unique visitors a week, 2013. 2 years later, we were 5.5 billion uniques in mobile only. So one of the sort of advices that I have for you all is sort of to look from the outside on your business and disrupt yourself. Be brave hearts.
Extremely important takeaway that sometimes it could be fitting to have another brand to propel what you want to do, because the organization might be too slow and there's too much in the existing brand already to bring in social users. We haven't spoken much about this, I think, during the day, but bringing in social tends to challenge the organization and the workflows in a very specific way. David, you probably know this also from Arla Köket, when you bring in new pictures or ratings into the content, the actual content flow, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of tricky to do that in a correct manner.
It is tricky.
And Google, you have so many, not only success cases, but also failures in social, right? We seldom talk about failures and how we bring them in. So yeah.
Interestingly, over at Google, they talk about it a lot. And actually, I remember distinctly how many times Larry Page complained about the fact that we had too few failures. And we need more failures, because if you don't have failures, you have nothing to learn from. And these guys, again, they're great at creating value from the wreckage, to use the code and repurpose it, to use the teams, to actually to combine. They typically don't kill a project. They morph it with another project and see, well, maybe this will work, and maybe it won't, but we'll learn something, and value will come out of it.
Google Wave is a good example of how we brought in real-time communication into Google Docs, right?
Exactly.
You should actually celebrate failure.
Yeah.
Actually, because you learn a lot from it, and if you fail real hard, it will be the most cost-efficient way to learn a lot.
So what's the trick, Joakim? Who did you bribe in order to get this completely different brand? And how did you get the mandate to actually go that path?
We thought of ourselves. We wanted to reinvent ourselves in 5 years. So we made a plan for how we should reinvent ourselves in 5 years. 5 years from now this was 2014. And what should we be then? So we looked at mostly our purpose. What do we want to be for users, and how do we find them? And then we did the business all over again. And we did it from a service perspective. So not from the perspective that the users needs us, but sort of that we need the users. So and this took a lot of impact on the organization, and we invented the failure strategy, which is mostly that we should fail a lot during this journey. And the people that actually fails mostly, they are the bravest, and they should be celebrated, not put down. And this has made a lot of change internally on Expressen and how we look on our business today.
So a question for you. I think it's. I listened to your chief editor Thomas Mattsson last week, and you transform your business totally. We're in the same position as a consulting agency. Otherwise, we won't survive. But I think publicists, newspapers, TV channels, not Google, maybe Arla, Köket, have looked upon your clients as being the advertisers, I would say, and not the readers, the users, or the viewers. I used to work in the media business for a couple of years as well. Have you transformed, I think, and that is one fundamental change that has to be made, that you have to see your end consumers as the real consumers, and then hopefully the advertisers will come along. Have you made that mental shift in Expressen?
I should say that we actually have done that due to investing in a huge development department. So developers are more used to that kind of thinking. They are looking mostly at the end user and seeing the ad experience as a part of the experience. Earlier we saw it like you said mostly, and that was a huge fail for the whole business. Today we see more of the end user perspective, and we use a lot of focus groups and a great deal of user experience directly into our services before delivering them out. So we do micro A/B testing, we do a lot of micro stuff towards real users, not fictive, not Mats 42 readings, no, not this one, but real people actually, and that has transformed us more to take care of the user experience actually. We have a huge journey left, but we're on the move sort of.
Interesting, thanks.
Andreas, if we stop, I have a question for you actually. Your role is a bit of an external partner to the companies you work with. And what do you see in terms of ownership what challenges do you see in terms of ownership as we go from like pure marketing and advertising to service development and no ownership and trying to maintain a smooth workflow?
I mean, there are tremendous challenges. I mean, I think for me or us, my colleagues as I represent, as trying to be ahead of our clients today is harder than ever. Our role as a consultant agency is being transformed totally. If we don't do it now or have done it, hopefully we have, we're going to be out of business. I mean, like my colleagues here in on these benches. So, and I think that what you're asking is, I mean, first of all, as a consultant, you have to know of a whole broader spectrum of services, not just doing advertising and PR or digital or just content. You have to be like a hybrid expert, and there are not many around. I mean, you all have read the management books on your airplanes about content, and we're talking about these founders of the amazing new companies. We know about native and content, marketing automation, and the transformation, and then we go home, we are shit scared. And we don't know what to do in practice. And I mean, and I think so, that's basically what we're trying to do, to help our clients step by step, doing it, it's not that hard. So we're into that daily, on a daily basis, absolutely, yeah.
Any good advice from the panel to the audience regarding digital transformation? What you could take away and bring into your process back home?
I think it starts. Hello. Oh. I think it starts with the top. You can have. I see a lot of companies creating digital alibis in their organizations. You have the chief digital officer. You have those guys. I used to be one, and it doesn't work. It's just an add-on. It's just a marketing ploy. If you don't have the CEO on board with full passion, you can't get there. Secondly, I'd point at the culture, because a lot of companies are very, especially if you're listed on the stock exchange and you have weak owners or many fragmented ownership, then you're subject to what pension funds like, and pension funds typically like dividends. They don't care too much about a growth strategy, a risky growth strategy. They want dividends, and in that culture, it's very, very hard to move away from. I went to Stockholm School of Economics. I shouldn't say this, but I don't believe in shareholder value. I don't think that's what you can't run a company based on that, because you will invariably be very short-sighted and always consider cost as a more attractive option than investment, and you can't move to growth strategy in that environment. But if you have a user or customer focus and where your sole object, I mean, look. Example, case in point, Kodak. Surely they thought that our business model is to sell rolls of film with 24 or 36 frames. That's it. That's what we do, and we distribute them through retail. And what would Kodak have been if they instead had the mission of, we are the preservers of people's memories? They would have been technology agnostic. They would have been able to challenge their own business model, and which is incidentally what Fujifilm did. And they're alive and well. They have a very solid business, and Kodak is dead. They drowned, as did Blockbuster, Nokia, and with a very arrogant attitude.
Really, really interesting last words from Sven, because this also ties back to what Ida said about the narrative, right? And going from shareholder value to user value in the service creation for the digital transformation is probably exactly where we need to be. That's probably the sweet spot of what we're doing today. So, yeah.
And I apologize because I have to leave right now. But thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Tack, Sven. Thank you.
And if there are no questions from the audience, because I haven't seen any on Twitter, I think we'll round off the panel. for today. I'll just refresh the flow again. And, well, there is one, actually, from Roland Williams. How will AI innovations like Amazon's Alexis and Siri change digital advertising? Are there any implications from artificial intelligence and assistance when it comes to what you do?
Yes, I can. I think it will impact quite heavily in how we will treat the SEO question, because SEO has been like the ground pillar for how we create reach in our channels without giving Google too much money. So, and I mean, with spoken search, for example, for recipes, for example, there will be a need for optimizing more on like a problem-solving basis, or yeah, you speak a whole context and whole sentences. You won't search. You won't say recipe fish. You will say, please present me something nice to cook with chicken and some Asian spices, and we will have to optimize to respond on that.
A really interesting question which relates mainly to content discovery, probably.
And not only the advertisement part of it, but also, of course, to us it more relates to the consumer experience of the content, using virtual reality to be inside of reality shows, or having voiceover or voice recognition to explore the content, really. So it's more from a product development perspective for us.
Most major impact we're talking about, I don't know if it's going to be Siri or another implication, but if we're talking about AI as a phenomena, when AI for real is integrated into marketing, and it's on the verge of being that, and we're going from guessing to knowing, because I mean, we're still guessing what we're doing. Few companies, they know what to do, they implement their systems, they treat big data, structured in a real good way, they have transformed like Expressen. Majority has not. But when AI is implemented, we're going from guessing to knowing what we're not going to do, what to do exactly when in real time, and measure it in real time. Then the real paradigm shift is going to happen, I think. And we're on that verge right now. That's real interesting, I think. Now we're talking about AI in those terms. We haven't done that before.
I feel like we're in the middle of an inflection point every time I open the blinds. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming here and sharing your experiences and success cases. It's been awesome to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Roman. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tack så mycket. Thank you, Roman. Thanks a lot. Sorry, we are a bit behind again. So need to hurry up.